Good afternoon, traders. Hope we're all doing well this afternoon. It's been a lovely Friday here anyway, down in Melbourne. We're heading to a nice weekend by the looks of things. Um, it was a good night overnight in the US. It pushed up slightly high, not a lot, but did all right. Gold didn't do too well. The US dollar has kicked on again, which is pushing down the Aussie, and the Aussie dollar is looking a bit weak at the moment. So that's pretty much the reason for the talk. Just taking a look at the Aussie and seeing how we can benefit from that. If it continues to depreciate, and they do have quite a few more rate rises, then what we could do with it, how can we benefit from it? So we'll have a chat about that today. Obviously, the topic is like we got stocks to buy now and benefit from a falling Aussie dollar. We've got a couple on the cards here, a couple that some bigger names too that you'd know, a couple that we just had a quick look at, and that we have had on the cards for a while, but they haven't really set up. But they're getting into that zone now, so we'll take a bit of a squiz at that. On the screen, you can see the TradeSetup live stream site there. Now, if you like, if you're new to the site, new to the stream at least, if you can join us on Twitter, that'd be fantastic. The Twitter code's just at the top left-hand corner there. Follow us on Facebook also, or follow us on YouTube. So you can sign into YouTube, subscribe, and you'll get all the you get an initial update when the stream goes live. So you can follow us on that. That'd be fantastic. Much appreciated too, by the way. For those of you who have been following us for quite a while, thank you very much. It's been great. Great for me, as long as hopefully for yourself as well. All right, let's just kick it off. Let's just take a look at where the market is at the moment. Pretty much doing nothing. Did expect it to open a bit higher, which it did, only slightly really, the ASX, and then we're down at the moment. We're pretty much flat, down 1 point, so neither here nor there at the moment. I think we did open up a few points a little bit higher, and then pretty much just sold off. The US, I can never quite remember. I think they were up about. Oh, let me just get it before I forget too much. Up about a few points in the S&P. 6 points in the S&P roughly. I don't know exactly where they finished it, so when I send out the morning alert, that's pretty much where they're going into the close at that stage. I think it was about 60 on the Dow. Europe was also higher. Shame of it all is that gold's been hammered a bit further, so it's more technical and everything. Technical selling on the back of a rising US dollar also. So that's been belted around a bit, but that's put the Aussie dollar into not a bad position, and it's certainly good for some companies anyway. Does anyone follow the currencies especially, and I guess understand what we're talking about with that? Right, while we're waiting there, we'll just take a look at how everything's going. We've got a couple of alerts on the go at the moment. CIM actually just kicked up a bit more. It's about 20 cents. That's going great. Yeah, that is going nice. 33.5 at the moment. So we're long from. Let me just get it. We're long from in here, I think. Sort of that breakthrough 31.76 or something like that, I think. So it's kicking away nicely. We'll see if that can get. If you go look at a weekly chart, the weekly looks quite nice. You're having that big. Probably start accelerating soon. I'm expecting it to accelerate and kick higher, where we'll look to take a bit of a partial. It's getting a bit extended on the weekly, so whether it could get all the way up here, who knows? But yeah, we'll look for an opportunity. It's getting up into that 34. Might find a bit of resistance. That's that recent lower high there. After making this lower high, and it's sort of built some higher lows there and just pushing up into that zone now. So we'll see how that plays out. What else do we have on the elders? Elders, we've been from 4. It's been a really grindy type of stock. It's not doing a hell of a lot. It did kick up originally above 4. It hit about 408, something like that, and then it grind lower, and it's held a higher low here, and it's just pushed up again through $4. It hit 406 today. So we're looking for these high lows to hold, and really, especially after this type of price structure. And you look at the weekly chart, the weekly looks really good. It's had a good move up here. It's holding some high lows, but it's just headbutting up against, say, 410. Now, if it can push up through and continue on, just get a bit of head of steam and push up through 410, you might get this a bit of a spike up to 475. But we'll see how that plays out. What else do we have? Stocks on the go. AFI. We were looking at that. Actually, that's a daily we want to look at. We were looking at that at one stage. That's a big move today, actually. Key dates. We were looking at that as a bit of a kick up through. I think it was 580 push up through 580, and it just toppled over yesterday. So it's really taken off the cards again, because as soon as it broke that, we need this level to hold about 572 or so, or at least 570 to hold, and that push up from there. So that would build that high low, but it didn't. It just turn around and bang straight through. It did push up to hit 580 today, right on the dot. But yeah, we're not watching it. We just got that back on the cards at the moment. It's not an entry alert. So what else do we have going? Obviously, the good one is GXY still kicking along nicely. That's been good. We've taken a partial off that, half off that around 46.5, 47. It's built another high low since, and we're looking. So we've got to lock it in for the rest around 45 from, was it 36, 36.5, thereabouts. So doing really nicely. It has got a bit overbought. You can see on a weekly, definitely it's starting to get a bit stretched into that level. So if we get another opportunity to raise our stop, maybe if it just spends too much time banging around here, might just take the rest off and call it a day on that. We do, you know, obviously the aim is to let it go as much as possible, just to see what we can get out of it, see what we can drag out of the trade. It could just prove us completely wrong, bang through this highs, and then off she goes. A spike through at least, and then we can get a few more cents, a few more percent on that. But we'll see how that plays out. The other one was CKF, which has done fantastic. That was an entry through. Now I always forget. I think it's 37 on that one. Let me just get that up. 537. Yeah, 537. So a bit late to the party. It would have been. It's a beautiful entry through that 502, say, just through these little minor breakout through. As you can see, there's high lows holding, just preemptive of that major breakout through 520, say. That would have been a really nice entry. We got a bit late, but the markets just kept going. The reason why we did like it and we're happy to give it a go is because of that weekly structure. That's fantastic. Obviously extended on that weekly, so we do expect to pull back on that sooner or later. But again, we've taken a partial on that, and it's just kept going on. We took a partial around $6 from 537, booked that, and the rest of it's been locked in and just above $6 somewhere. I think 620 thereabouts at the moment. So we'll just see how much we can drag out of that. So far so good. There's a couple that are backed off a bit, but that's the way it is. The market's been a bit of a tough one, so anyone out there that's watching it, yeah, it's a tougher one to trade than normal. It's been a bit choppy, and you can see that by just going to a daily on the ASX, whether we run up a bit of resistance here. We're starting to take out some of these previous day's lows, if you can see that. You know, we had that little push down on this day. What was that? That was 3 days ago. That was the 13th. Popped up to new highs, touched 5,600, just a few points below, and then we've had a big down day yesterday, and we look like we could. We're starting to see a bit of weakness, so we'll see how that goes. Let's just look at the ASX to see what that's saying to us. Bear with me 1 second. Just give me 2 seconds. Let's quickly type a message. All right, let's go look at these. Look at the CFD. That's the Aussie. So take a look at that in a sec. All right, we're at the 30-minute chart here. You see this little uptrend. It hasn't done a lot today. Obviously, it's just banging around in here. It may potentially hold this, these lower highs in here. Let's just get rid of that. Sorry, a bit slow to get rid of that today. A bit disorganized this morning, but just doing a bit of light reading. So you can see, we pushed down, built some lower highs. We had a good accelerated move down from, what was it, 55.86 thereabouts. Popped back up, and we're holding at the moment. Nothing's clear just at the moment. We're still we could potentially be contracting. Hold this sort of these lows and then pop back up towards 55. But at the moment, that's sort of the key area. And we just starting to build some lower highs. We're also building some higher lows. So it's coming to that point now. If we get a bit of a breakthrough, say 55.30 zone today or thereabouts, you'd expect that's more confirmation that's starting to roll over. I guess the key is getting through, 55.30, this little low here. If we get through that, you'd expect it to push down through 55.27 and even 55.18. We'll see how that plays out tonight. It is, you can see the stochastic starting to get at that oversold territory, so maybe it's a bit stretched. Buyers probably could be stepping in, but the daily, like we said just before, is not looking too great anyway. All right. Any questions? We'll look at the Aussie in a second because we're going to do a bit more work on that. Just put up a few levels and see what we think of that. But any questions? Anything anyone look at, guys, with the ASX? Any views on that? which way it's going, before we jump into the topic of the day. Futures is making new highs, yeah. Yeah, it's true, Maria. It's a bit choppy, a bit hard just at this time. Yeah, that's exactly right. You can still pick winners. There's no doubt about that. It's just they're a bit harder to find. You've got to do a bit more work, or you've got to look for some prime setups. So even if the market rolls over, you're going to find stocks that will just maybe hang there and do nothing if the market rolls over. Then when the market picks up, they go, or they could go and then just sit there, sit on a gain. But I think it's a matter of looking for those nice, healthy setups, something that really sticks to your rules or what you like to see, proof that it's starting to work in your favour. Look for those good setups, and then if the market does start to roll over and come under a fair bit of pressure, you can just tighten things up. Because there's nothing wrong with tightening things up. Because if it is a positive move and it's going to do well, it doesn't really matter about tightening up. But if it's not, sometimes you're better off being out and reassessing the picture as you go. So very, very true. And that's what we're finding. We've got some, to be honest, the strike rate are getting just slowly backing off. We're getting a few. I mean, the gains we got are really good. We got, say, CKF, Collins Foods, up over 20% since our entry. Galaxy's up 33%. We've got another one, BrainChip, which was up 20% today, but it's just backed off a little bit. But that's still up over 10%. Another winner's up over around 5%. So there's some doing well. There's a couple that are. There's one at pretty much break even. Elders is pretty much break even. We've got one down, say 10% at the moment. Um, the thing is, the ones that are up are just sort of hanging there doing nothing at the moment. And the ones that have backed off, we got stopped out of, and so our strike rate's come back a bit. It's pulled back a bit. The gains are still there. The gains are still looking good. They're still around 68% or thereabouts from the alerts. So still looking good and still looking healthy. But until it's actually the strike rate, we can find we're just ticking over a few more small losses. They've been more than made up for with the gains, the big gains. But yeah, they're just starting to see those, and that's conducive with just a bit of a messy market, a bit of a choppy market. So. So I just saw that there. You're not the only one there, Anne-Marie. All right, let's let's get into the Aussie then. Let's just take a look at it. So I've just done a bit of a Google on things. You just go Google through what benefits. If you just want to try to understand, I mean, sometimes it gets me confused. Understand how the Aussie affects different companies. I guess if you can think of it, if they're buying things in a different currency, like US dollars, for example, importing from the US, obviously a weaker US dollar is going to knock them around a bit. So we see more weakness. We're probably going to see companies that got exposure. I think, like say JB. There's a couple more. I had a little list. Where is it? Look, you can dig around. You'll find some that have got exposure. We're not so worried about that just at the moment. There's going to be some that, obviously, if you're paying a weak Aussie dollar, you're going to get whatever you're earning in Australia is going to be the same. Pretty much you're earning in Aussie. But if you're buying stuff from overseas, you're importing, then you're going to find it tough. Those companies are going to find it tough paying in US dollars, with the currency dropping, US appreciating, we're not. Then on the flip side of that, currency is potentially exporting in Aussie dollars, so someone's going to come over here and buy our stuff, basically, or that earn money over in US dollars are going to do it right. Obviously, with the appreciation in the US dollar, so we want to take a look at falling US dollars. The companies are going to be smiling and kicking up their heels a bit, as opposed to the others that are not going to be too happy. So we'll look at, firstly, just go over the Aussie. Anyone got an opinion? If it's different to me, don't share it because you're wrong. Yeah, feel free to chuck in a new opinion. Let me just get up. We'll start at the daily and work our way backwards. Like I always find is the best thing to do. Just pick out a major view of it. And anyone, I guess, can glance at that if you're into your technicals. Actually, looking at that on a daily, if you look at that on a daily, guys, that looks, doesn't look good to me. And we'll just, pretty much the main reason why. Let's just make it an orange color. Is this? Just move that. is this lower high. So what we have, you can see if we just go back, just mark out some of these lower highs. We've got a major lower high, sorry, a major high, major resistance zone through here, and then we just building, we don't need to draw them right up. Lower high here as the markets roll over. You have big extension leg down. We've got that reaction. I don't know what's on the left-hand side of the chart. Let's not worry about that too much. You can see that, has everyone seen that quite clearly? Yep. So what we're seeing is that this high here, we've got that sell-off. Markets bounced, reacted off this sort of, what was it, 88.50 zone, bounced back up, built a lower high in conjunction to this. So the trend's down on a long-term time frame, maybe a weekly or whatever, monthly. Sell-off, built another uh, lower high in here, and we've had that big extended leg down. And really, this didn't really stop. We had a bit of a pop up here, so we got another sort of level in here, another push down. So we had a bit of a level in here, which is just broken. We just had a pop out to the downside, if you can see that. So we've had that push down, contract back up slightly. It's not a major contraction. Like you can see these sort of reactions back up were quite big. This is just a minor reaction, really. So potentially you can call that one big strong leg down, and we're getting that contraction back up at the moment. So what I'm seeing, if we just drill in on that on a daily basis, now we've discussed it a lot, lower highs and shoulder trades we were talking about yesterday. Now this looks like it could be setting up for that major shoulder trade with a push through that support zone at 73.15. Let's just see if we can see a couple more. If you going back, just look at what we've seen in the past. A little, I don't like those. I don't like that happening to me. Another shoulder trade there. You've had a shoulder sort of through here. After that pop up, after that contraction up, shoulders built, and then bang, we get a sell off here. This is what we could be in the midst of forming just at the moment. And if you just remember that's what we mean by shoulder. Even this is, I guess, it's more of a shoulder trade too. It's had that push down into support. You can see this support through here. You can, there you go. You can see it better now. On the left-hand side of the chart, we've got this support through here. Oh, we've got support. It's held. It's touched on support. Built that lower high. Another lower high, and then gone. So the weakness you can see coming into the market. Now, if we just get up, what we're seeing now, and even if we just draw in that from that low just through, it's to me it's pretty clear what's happening now. We've got to be. I think this Aussie dollar could be heading a lot lower. We could be heading towards that 69 level. So a couple hundred pips there. So it's about 300, 400 pips. 69 even down to these lows at 68.48. So it's closer to 600. Is it 500 pips there? If that's the case, there's a bit of downside. We might find, obviously, there's going to be some support levels. We might have one through here, and then really the major one's going to be, I'll just get rid of that, extend this out. It was going to come in sort of around that zone where we've had that little bit of a washout previously. Show where you would enter. Yeah, all right. I like shoulder trades. It's a tough one because I wouldn't enter on a daily. If you're trading this purely off a daily, just to quickly go over it, what I like to do on the shoulders, and we can even do it just where we got now. What I like to do, if you're seeing this type of price action, you think this is at a good sell-off, it's contracting back up. What are we wanting to see? I sort of tend to do that just over the lows, over these higher lows, and then once we get that break, I'm more confirmed. That's where I'm looking for. I might drop it down. I'd like to drop it down maybe a time frame or two just to refine that entry, because you don't know what's happening within that bar on a half an hour chart even. So if you're trading off this daily, it might be my anchor chart. So I know that's going to be a lower high in the daily. Potentially we're going to get that push through support at 73.14, sell through. So if I'm anticipating that, I'm trying to drop it down to and then really if I'm trading off this chart, I probably would have just taken it through a break. Maybe it's just gone really. Maybe through that zone there, 73, because you're preempting the break of this support and having to stop up here. Because once you start getting through these these, once it's contracted up and you get through these higher lows, it's weakness coming to the market. It's pretty clear. Anyone who's long buying it up here, expecting that push back up, probably bailing, and then you might get then these guys who have bought it initially, they might be sitting on a break even or just slightly up. Are going to start feeling some pressure, especially if we get down to 73.20 thereabouts. Um, so yeah, you just got to think of it like that. But really, to get yourself out of when they break those high lows and then turn around and wash straight back up, then you really can't get past that. Sometimes there's no avoiding that at stages. So if you held your risk up here, I think that's quite a good spot. If you just put it front running that breakthrough there, then you're front running a retest down to 71.50. So you've got maybe a 1-to-1 up your sleeve, or just over 1.5-to-1 up your sleeve there. But generally, if this was my anchor chart, I'd be probably dropping it down a level there, Anne-Marie, just to refine that entry. I guess if you go back, you've seen, if you just look at that, you're looking at a similar type of thing. There you go. You've got a low high. Ideal. Well, whoop, wrong way. If you can see that, I know we're getting off topic of you guys, but if you can see that there, I like that kind of setup. So you've had that push down. That's a major lower high. We're looking for continuation. We get that shoulder trade in here, which is just bouncing off support really, or prior to support, contracting a little bit. It's just washed out these highs on this candle. Then we roll over. I just tend to draw a line as a bit of a guide, not an entry signal as such, but a guide. We push down, pop back up, build that, it's an even minor lower high, but then you can just push a break because things tend to accelerate when they get through that type of setup. After this push lower, it means that we're pretty much not contracting anymore. We're starting to resume that trend down. You've got your push through here at 75.81, maybe a sell and stop just there with your stop just up at 77.60, for example. Obviously, depending on your risk. That's just on a daily basis. Look, you had something similar here, if you can see that there. So that type of setup can happen quite often. Does that make sense? Well, let's just go back. If you can see that, it's a bit tougher to see, but even that there, push down, pop back up, that reaction, and then sellers just stepping in a bit more force. Didn't go too far, but you were really, you got washed out of that trade. Second time lucky, you made that one. You got this move down. This one here, you got this good move down. So yeah, that's the way I would attack it. So sorry for getting a bit distracted. Yeah, go and look for them. The best thing you can do is probably just pop through and look for them. Look for that type of setup, and then just drill down a chart from here. Maybe go down to an hourly just to see off a daily. Go, okay, what's happening in that zone on an hourly basis? All right, so if that's the case, we expect this to be a lower high. We're starting to see this, this break. Whether we track back up and then roll over from here, who knows? But in essence, longer term, we're expecting this Aussie, potentially this to be, this really to bring in some weakness. This is your shoulder. You see it head down. We'll draw that up. This type of thing, maybe head down through that support, probably get a bit of reaction up, and then bang, we go again. But you can see, even just what I've drawn up there, that's your anchor. It pulls back, a bit of contraction up, still holding within this trend down. Just a bit of a correction, hold a new anchor, and then sell off again, take out the lows, and on we go. So if that's the case, that's what we're sort of seeing. We can see this happening. There's a major correction higher. It's holding a lower high through here, this zone, and that's probably quite important. Just seeing that there, that sort of 77.46, and then a push down. All right, so bias could be down. We'll see where it goes to. We don't know, obviously, but okay, what are we seeing as potentially benefiting? So remember, we're looking for exporters. All right, we're looking at, so we've got a couple of stocks. Better get rid of this call. Got a stalker on there, guys. Phone call from Perth. Some trading company wanted me to be a client. Interesting. Let's get over to, all right, let's just get over the stocks now. Let's take a look. So one where now Macquarie does, just quickly, we'll look at the charts as we go. Macquarie, you can see it's probably already gone, but it has got good exposure to US dollars. I think they earn quite a bit over there. I don't know exactly what. Let's just take a look. It's a global provider, banking, financial advisory, investment fund, headquartered in Sydney. So it has got exposure, some big exposure over to US dollars. So its income is a lot derived from overseas and earned in US dollars. So that that there you can probably see it's actually starting to go. I mean, my books. I just want to point this one out because it's a technically it looks really nice. It's probably a bit late to the. If you look at a monthly chart, it's probably a bit late to the party there. Just drawing that up, but there's still it could be quite a bit to go. Draw that in. Oh, draw that in. Let's draw that in. Let's draw that in. Right, you can see that trend. It's holding high. You've had that test of support, pushed down, built a higher low through here, and then the trend's just kicked up. And now we're just starting to get through those highs there. So this is on a monthly basis, but you can see we're starting to get a bit extended. But there's nothing to say we can't just, you can see this type of price is holding around those overextended, for a few years now. But that's a really nice, strong, healthy trend up. Now, if that continues on, let's go down to a day. The weekly's kicked on quite strong. It's getting a bit stretched, and the daily's getting up there as well. But with an appreciating US dollar, you'd expect buyers just to be jumping. They've probably already started. Obviously, you can see that spike low, that big washout, and then we've just punched through that high in here, held maybe a little minor lower low, but then it's just kicked off from there the last few days, especially as the US dollar's appreciated. So probably not something I'd ideally be watching it closer. I'd want to see it. If we just draw that up, I want to see. This is a monthly chart, but just going to the daily. It's had that healthy trend, that healthy move up. Oops. We've had that move down. I want to see some sort of contraction, like that before I jump in. I just want to see some, a bit of a contraction, a bit of selling come in just to put more people on the sidelines, and then some higher lows building, just taking out some lower highs like through here, and then a pop up. So that's the type of price action I've seen. I'm not obviously not seeing that. It's probably got a long way to go before that happens, but just ease off from being a bit overbought and a bit overstretched. This thing could just keep going. Who knows? Um, yeah, 1987 in blue sky. Sometimes they can really go because don't forget technical guys like me and others. You've got to assess it a different way. I think with this, Michael, we touched on it. I don't know if you remember back, we just spoke about volatility projections. Or you can look at Fibonacci projections. I don't know. It's all much the same to me, I guess. Whatever way you want to look at it. See if we can get something. I haven't looked at it in that respect on this, on Macquarie. But in blue skies can really lead to some good moves because there's no resistance to pop up to. I was going to say 87, 07. Yeah. So when you're talking stuff in blue skies, they could lead to some solid gains. You just don't know. Maybe that's one leg up there. That's potentially another leg, and maybe we're having another leg. It could. So if you're just measuring that, let's take it. What are we there? 65 up to roughly. So it's 58 up to about 77. What's that? 17, 18, 90. Get it on 20 bucks. 65 would take us to about 85. Yeah, thereabouts, about 20 bucks there. So if we take it from roughly 73, it'd be 93. So probably another couple of bucks. Actually, what are we at? 93, did I say? So it's at $7 roughly, just by projecting it. So when you've got something like that, it's a bit more arbitrary in clear skies. So sometimes they can just power along, especially if you've got a good story behind it. Maybe this, just think about it. If this US dollar, we talked about, we just had one rate rise. They're talking another three next year, and it all goes to plan. And then following year after that, was that 2018? Another three, and then after that to 19, another three. That's what they're sort of projecting if we continue along the lines, and then old Trump does provide a bit of inflation, a bit of growth out there. Then what you'll get, you probably will find this will just kick on. People will be looking at US dollar appreciation. You just get minor pullbacks or nothing like this because this was triggered, I think, over the election. I don't know what happened here to trigger that sort of that sharp decline, but it's been bought up. Every time it pops down, it's been bought up. So longer term, when you're getting into clear skies, you've got no resistance to run up into. we go back to the monthly, yeah. So we go back from, we're sort of getting into new highs just through that 86.7 level. Even just projecting this leg up, you can project it from here. It could have a hell of a lot to go. So that's the only way really to assess where it could be going. Does that make sense? So if you're assessing it that way, it becomes a lot more arbitrary than having, okay, there's a resistance. Also, say for example, when we run up into this level, we know that probably there's going to be a bit of reaction off these highs. These highs through here, a bit of reaction, really bugger all. It pulled back and then pop straight through. Um, I do like things that can run up into clear skies. Like Davin says time and time again, everyone's a winner. Because when it goes like just you don't know where, so people are happy to buy it, and then you get that a bit of I get what would you call that? Bit of excitement that people who have missed out. There's no resistance. They don't. It could go anywhere. Let's just get in there for that run. It's going to go to the moon. All that type of talk. So it is good. I do like stocks that are running into new highs because they can really lead to some good gains, good sharp movements. 97 and 07. How come I can't get my data back there? I'm missing out on just a touch of data by the looks of things. That's an 07. High, 82.20. All right, 07. All right. So yeah, if we get up there, is that about where? That's roughly where we projected, or 95? It's about $7 from here, so it's about 95. So we're probably, if that's the case, that's the all-time high. That's probably a decent enough target. Yeah. No, that's right too. Um, in that general market, we could be a bit of a backup, but we don't know what's going to happen from here. If it is backing off a bit, is it going to be, like all the bears are predicting, it's going to topple over, or are we just going to get a bit of a correction? Bias jumping back in, and this market to take off again. So if that's the case, if it's more of a correction, this may just hold these highs, flounder around a bit and then go again, or it may correct with the overall market. So you're right. It always does depend on especially with the big blue chips, these bigger ones. Now let's go over to the next one. Look at it. Everyone knows this, Cochlear. This is the monthly. This is a little bit more attractive. I mean, it hasn't had a bit of a correction the last couple of months, but we just get rid of that. Actually, we don't need it. Let's just, doesn't matter. What we're seeing is it's had, get off. All right, we've pushed up through 80, found some support, say through that zone, clear it through here, held a high low, and then we've got that leg really. So that leg, I guess you can break it down as one, pull back, retest, another strong move up. So what we could be just in the midst of, I don't know what you call B wave or whatever. It's probably retracting lower or correcting a bit lower. Just break it down to a daily. Breaking it down to a daily doesn't look too bad, and you can see also where it's come from. It's been sold quite hard on a weekly. It's got below 0%. That makes it a bit hard to believe. But anyway, well and truly oversold, and that was probably in the last few months. Sorry, last few weeks. Well and truly oversold, so it's stretched on a weekly basis. Yet that's looking to me like it's coming to that point. It's coming to a good little zone. If you just drill it onto a daily, I think there's potential on this. So if they've got a good exposure to an appreciating US dollar on good old Cochlear, then it might be in the zone where it could be you'd expect it to be some buys starting to step into the fray there. Has anyone got Cochlear or holding that? So they obviously dabble in hearing aids. The company does a majority of its business overseas, earning US dollars, with costs incurred in weaker currencies like the Aussie, obviously. So, good exposure for them to an appreciating US dollar or a weakening Aussie dollar. Sorry, and it's to me, you got your double top just up here. It's breaking down that through the anchor there for this current uptrend, this current leg higher. So really just correcting, from this zone through here, it's just correcting that leg. We're coming into a good zone. You can see this buyers are stepping in. So these moves down only on a minor scale on a daily basis are getting weaker and weaker. So sooner or later that's going to abate, and you're expecting if there's no real level to go to. So if it's just that the fact that it's getting weaker, it's got potential the fundamental of a weaker Aussie dollar to kick it up, you want to look for price action from here. So I guess the last piece to the puzzle is just jumping in, and if you can see the price action that you want to see, so we've had that move down off this double top. You can see that, yep. What we're trying to look for is just signs that, the higher lows, see that buyers are stepping. We might have a retest support through. Well, the line's on straight today. It's getting because it's a Friday. So retest a support, and then maybe. So I always like this. If it creeps off a level, so if it just starts creeping up here and we break through, say, 120 bucks, there's more of a key level just at the moment on this leg lower. So if we can get through 120, say it's through here, and then we retest the lows, and then you see this high low here. Love that type of entry because it's more out the other side, as this is not strong confirmation. It just creeps up building some higher lows, whether that's contraction and then it continues this, that's one leg, contracts and then rolls over for another major leg lower. We don't know that. As soon as you get that double bottom or that failure to continue lower and builds a higher low, that is, like we spoke yesterday, the RTF, double bottom, double high, whatever you want to call it. And then that shoulder trade, like we're saying, a shoulder trade here, beautiful. So that's the type of price action we'd be looking for. That's sort of like the last piece of the puzzle, maybe for Cochlear if you're looking at that. I do like it. I think that there's potential in this one. Oh, there you go. Cracking potential now that I've just seen that. Didn't notice that a second ago. So I believe this is in a great zone, and I believe with all the potential appreciation of the US dollar, because it's been sold for years and years, the potential unwinding of shorts, longs jumping into the US dollar, Aussie dollar getting pushed down, or at least held down. I think this has got great potential. So really, it's just like I said, looking for that setup. Let's look at there's another one, MTR, Mantra. Hotels, and obviously we know this one. More they're going to benefit from potentially a lower Aussie dollar and benefit from a higher tourism, more tourism into Australia. So I think they hold high-end hotels and some medium, more affordable accommodation as well. So we're looking potentially this as a play. If we go back to the weekly, just get all. I'm pretty sure that's the start of the data there. Was it back in 2014? So we've had a good leg up, and obviously, had that accelerated move higher. What do we got? Just got to draw this up there, guys. We've traded Mantra before. Has anyone had a crack at Mantra in the past? Sorry, I want to get out of that, don't I? All right, let's just draw that up. Now, so again, the theory is that they're going to benefit from a rising US, or benefit more likely benefit from a falling Aussie dollar. Just make it more affordable. A weaker currency is going to drag in some better tourism. Great place to come to Australia, obviously. Increase the tourism numbers. So you can see if that's the case, what are we looking for here? That's our theory. We've got our macro, I guess, view on it of why we like this. So it's really just looking now at what's going to happen. What are we looking for technically, and where's our setup going to be? We just want to sort of manage this trade, manage a position, or manage your entry is probably more to the point. We've had that push up, contract lower, really just pulling back, bringing in more buyers. You've got a great little, just off the cuff, you can see that great little entry set up through here, off contraction, back into expansion. You got another leg higher, and we've contracted lower, but you can see the difference in this contraction, more days for a move down rather than these steep, sell off. And that's probably, it's just starting to get a bit extended above $5. Maybe people are viewing it's getting a bit extended. That sell off pushed back up and really struggled. So that really at that stage, that anchor was to this leg down was up here. It struggled, 1-2 touch, sort of builds. Sellers were stepping in. You can see higher, lower highs in there. Sold off through there and just capitulated there. So once it got through the support zone, um, that shoulder trade in there, that's another shoulder trade, I guess you can call that. Going into, as soon as you start seeing that weakness, it retests the breakout zone, or that resistance now, support becomes resistance, started to roll over. But what we're seeing is buyers potentially just stepping in around that $3 mark. It's bounced off $3, and this is a good little sign. You got that move down on the mine level off down to 3. This little lever, it's pushed back up and broken it. It's pushed back in and had that little washout. Now, if that was still weak, you'd expect this type of movement, that to continue, but it hasn't. It's just built some minor higher lows, pushed back up. So now really what we're looking for is this level 3 to hold. If we can, what I'll do is just drill in on that a bit more. It's really just in here. So, whoops. Really just want to concentrate on this final leg. So we've got, if we think this is going to pop up, we want to now see our price action. We've got a support zone potentially at $3. You know, same type of thing. We get into that zone now. We've got a bit stretched, and we're starting. You can see the weakness coming in sellers by the stochastics. That's the way I like to view that. Just more strength or weakness in the move. Lower highs are holding still, so they're still in play. Now, if we get a pop up, say 330, I'd want to see that push up off that support and that hold, and even this little trend down, which is starting to do, it's starting to break. So you can see the initial signs of $3 of holding starting to kick up, but we still got a bit of work to do, I'd say. If you can imagine, that's the move down here. All right, we're starting to get that pick up. We want to see if that's our resistance. Ooh, these lines are very. I promise I haven't had a drink yet, guys. It's not even the weekend. Straight on the coffee. We've had that move down. That's our 330 mark and a $3 mark. We want to see it start picking up off there. And potentially, I'd like to see that break. Wouldn't like to buy just on a break because it's quite. I mean, it's only 30 cents. I guess you can trade it that way. But then I'd like to see that pull back in the zone and then high low step in it at this resistance level to take it for a more accelerated move higher. And then you can see that the sellers are starting to get weaker. Buyers are starting to step in. You got more signs of buyers stepping in. So that's the way I'd like to see. So I'm really just on MTR, starting to see signs of that play out. Starting to see the theory of a weaker Aussie dollar is going to play out, and it's going to bring in I guess bring in holiday makers, and we're going to start seeing buyers are going to get dragged into this market. Anyway, enough of my ramblings, guys. Is there anything else? Let's just click on the USD. Anything else you want to have a look at in respect to, even look at this just before we finish it up. This is the USD we've said a few times now. This is the ETF. That looks awesome to me. It looks really nice. If you're thinking about trading this, what am I trying to do? Let's just quickly draw that up. Anything else? Any other stock you're looking at that could have exposure to a strengthening US dollar or a weakening Aussie? Anyone's following there? And there's a key level up there. We've had this move down, pop back up, starting to hold a higher low through here. You can see that move down is just starting to break out. We've got that move up, pushed out, holding another inside high low. So I think if we get up through sort of 1340 on that ETF, I think we're going to target straight up towards 1420. So it looks like, as a support, that's quite support to our theory. That's quite good. You can see that sort of curving base we got. If you can imagine, I can draw that up. And this is the type of style we like. We get that sharp move, you get that contraction in price. That, if you can imagine that cup or that sort of bowl formation, that rounding formation in prices, it builds higher lows, and then you come out the other end when things are starting to pop up. That's what we like to see. Rising interest rates, QBE. Yeah, I guess there you go. It looks like it has appreciated quite a bit there. Kick back to monthly, so it's sort of down on its knees on a monthly basis. Just that push through $10. It'd be interesting if that's just a washout. Gee, that looks actually not too bad. I guess it's got a lot of work. This is a monthly chart, got a lot of work to do. Drill down onto weekly. You can see it's touched. It was back in 2012, into 2012. This is all around $10. It's popped back off there. Found more weakness. You can see second time round after a double bottom or retest fail, we like to say, it generally takes out some minor levels, just a deeper pullback to get some more, or in this case, more selling into it. If it's a reverse, it's more buying. Deeper pullback, a bit of a rally. You can see that buying stepped in, so we've touched it again mid 2000, end of 2013, 14, then again started of 2015. Had another pop off that level. We washed it out start of this year, and we're washing it out again recently. So now, what will be interesting to see if we can actually push up through. I'd like to see push up through 1250 or 13, and then sort of attack that 15 zone, and then you want to see some high lows come into play rather than just another rollover and retest back down to 10 and wash that out, because it's looking at the moment on the weekly basis still looking a bit weak, and the daily's the same really. It's just getting that initial sign that it's pushing up. There you go. Just popped up through that high 1250 a couple of days ago. So it's early signs of weakness, but there's nothing to say this thing can't roll over. Take out that minor level there at just 12, and then have another crack at 10. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, rising interest rates is going to affect that. Yeah. CSL. Yeah, it's had a nice strong run up. Obviously, 2012, good leg up. So just glancing at that, after such a strong leg up, I'd like to see a bit more corrective action on that. You can see this is a monthly. I know it's a long-term time frame, but yeah, that good leg up. Spent a lot of time contracting there, just built off some higher lows, and then had another good leg up. Only minor in here, minor little correction there, but nothing too much on a monthly basis. Good over the week, that's in there, same zone. Push up. You're starting to get these. You see these moves down and get a bit bigger. The candles are a bit more red in them, so it's starting to say that we're just the higher we get, the more deeper corrections you're going to get. So firstly, CSL, it'll be interesting to see if we can hold up above, say, these sort of support zone through 87.5. Daily's not looking good at the moment, still holding lower highs, so there's still some pressure down into that zone. But we're just looking for a zone where it could, selling could weaken and buyers start to step in, and I'd say that's down at sort of this 75. Well, yeah, through here, 87, 85 zone. This sort of high low that's worked this leg off here. It's broken a few minor high lows just in here at say $100, sorry. So it'd be interesting to see if we can have a deeper correction. We might pop up and roll over, have a deep correction, but interesting to see there, John. Anything else, guys, just before we call it a day? Anything we want to have a look at? So the market's just popped around, rallied about 11 points since we've been speaking. Yeah, I do like the theory of that. I do. So if you're looking around, just I think I just got something off Motley not long ago. They were talking about, well, it was actually today. They were talking about another one. You got Cochlear, the mantra they're looking at also around the cards. But they've got another one, Event Hospitality and Entertainment Limited, EVT, as exposure to a weaker Aussie. To me, that doesn't look that nice, though, to be honest. It looks like it's contracting. It could just roll over from here and start heading south a bit more. But if that's the case, even looking at a monthly basis, you can see that top of price action accelerated. That accelerated move higher. I mean, generally, like we've spoken about many times before, that sort of accelerated move, and then if that's become a lower high, you expect that to have a deeper correction. Just as people profit take, as a buyer, would you really want to look at this monthly, holding it longer term? Any longer term traders, would they want to hold it up there? I'll be hard pressed to believe that, but you never know. It could just hold up here, but as a chart technical, I'd want to see a bit more work done before I even bother looking at this one. But unlike Cochlear, I actually like that. Mantra again, it's probably just kicked on a bit too much. If that's a chart. No, Mantra's okay. The Cochlear. Oh no, it was Macquarie that I was looking at. Sorry. But yeah, jump on there. All right, guys. If there's nothing else, we'll call it a day there. We'll be back again on Monday. If there's anything that you're just thinking about on the weekend that you want to chat about, or you want a chart that you want to look at, send it through to support@tradesetup.com.au, and we'll see how it goes. We'll have a chat about it. If there's any stocks that you just want to see a technical view on, or you want to have a bit of a chat about it, whack that into the chat when you're on. Or if you can't make it, just send it through as a code. Send it through to the email address support@tradesetup.com.au, and we'll look at it on Monday. All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Anne-Marie. Thanks, John. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll speak to you then. Cheers. Bye.